All right, it's the Keefe to the City Yankees podcast, and the Yankees lose again. They lose to the Angels 9-4 on Thursday night at the stadium. They end up losing 2 out of 3 to the Angels, lose yet another home series. They've only won, I think, 1 of their last 9 home series. They've now lost 18 of their last 27 home games. They're now 3-3 on this homestand against the Blue Jays, who have given up, traded away pieces off their major league roster, and the Angels, who maybe they've not given up, but they haven't been good all season. They're in 4th place in the crappy West, so they're a team that you should beat. If you think you're a real contender, if you think you have what it takes to win a championship, you need to be doing better than 3-3 at home against the Blue Jays and the Angels in August, with first place in the division still on the line. And the Orioles lost again, which is both good because the Yankees are still tied with them despite losing 2 or 3 to the Angels, but it's bad because the Yankees don't feel a sense of urgency. They don't pitch with urgency, they don't hit with urgency, they don't play with urgency, they're certainly not managed with any urgency. As long as the Orioles continue to flounder, the Yankees are fine doing the same. And the Yankees and the Orioles have the same record, but the Orioles have the tiebreaker because they're 6-4 against the Yankees head-to-head on the season. So if it were to come down to that at the end of the season, they were tied with the same record, the Orioles would go to the ALDS and the Yankees would go to the Wild Card Series. That's a long ways away, but right now the Yankees just have to play better. They have to play better. And it's hard to play better when every 5 days Nestor Cortes is getting the ball, and on one of the other 4 days, Marcus Stroman's getting the ball. On Thursday, it was Cortes. He was awful once again. 4 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned runs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a home run. He's been bad for a long time now. Really bad for a long time now. And the Yankees are 8-16 in games started by Cortes. They're 60-32 in all other games. So he is single-handedly weighing them down with his poor performance. Stroman certainly doing his part too, but Cortes has just really been awful. 1 quality start in the last 7 weeks. The Yankees have won 1 of his last 9 starts. He's failed to get through 5 innings in 4 of his last 5 starts. And in 4 of his last 5 starts, he's put at least 10 base runners on. In his last 5 starts, 23 1/3 innings, 56 base runners. 56 base runners in 23 1/3 innings. A 9.26 ERA, a 1.082 OPS against. So essentially, he has turned every hitter into somewhere between Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. That's what a 1082 OPS gets you. On average, every hitter is a 1082 OPS against him. That's his last 5 starts. Since his tweet, if you remember his awesome tweet during the All-Star break, when he put out there, quote, "Everyone talks down about the Yanks, but they want to be us. It's a privilege to wear pinstripes. Every year we are in contention. I'm blessed to be able to compete for a playoff spot and always be contenders at the end," end quote. That was a real thing that he wrote, that he thought he wanted to share with the world. Is anyone on the Yankees more delusional than Cortes? I mean, certainly Boone is on his own level, but in terms of the actual roster, Cortes, I think, has to be number 1. The things he says, talks about after each start, how he threw the ball well, just a couple pitches, his command. The guy's been horrible this season. The team wins 1/3 of his games, and yet he still thinks for some reason that he's doing well. And when you hear him talk about his performance on Thursday night, you would have thought the Yankees lost a close game.
To their credit, they fouled off a lot of good pitches that I threw tonight. I felt like today was a pretty good command day for me. There might have been 1 or 2 pitches where I wish to get back, but other than that, I thought I made a lot of good pitches. They battled me the whole night. Conditions were tough, and they came out with the win.
Just 1 or 2 pitches you want back, Nestor? Just 1 or 2? Because you gave him 9 hits, 6 runs, and you walked a batter. Over his last 5 starts, he's on pace to give up like 52 home runs over a 200 inning projection. He only wanted 1 or 2 pitches back? Well, he talks like this because his manager talks like this, continues to talk like it. How do you watch Nestor Cortes out there and think he threw the ball well?
I actually thought Nestor threw the ball okay. He wasn't giving up a ton of hard contact. Had a hard time putting guys away tonight. days. They were spoiling pitches. He'd get to 2 strikes, couldn't finish guys off.
The two most delusional people in the Yankees clubhouse giving an evaluation of Cortes' night. Boone keeps talking about how confident he is in the rotation. He's the only one. I mean, 2/5 of the rotation is Cortes and Stroman. And then the other days, you pray that the good version of Rodon shows up. You pray that the Cole version that's not hurt and can actually get through 5 or 6 innings shows up. And then you have Luis Gil, who, even on his bad days, like Wednesday afternoon, the first game of doubleheader, he still throws 5 scoreless. He's the only guy you really feel confident about taking the ball right now. Boone was asked about Cortes' recent run here, which has been miserable. And he had some interesting words.
I think there's kind of a story throughout it. Like, there was a few starts there that wasn't great. A couple where, he didn't have that extra gear on his heater. Felt like he got that last time in Philly. Felt like today, you look up, the profile was good. They did a good job of putting the ball in play. And again, I don't think they didn't sting the ball a ton against them, but especially with 2 strikes, they were able to kind of touch it and put it in play and dump some balls out there that just created traffic and some problems for him.
Now, that's interesting that Boone said his last few starts weren't great. Because if you go back a couple starts ago, he put 10 runners on. Boone said he pitched well. The start after that, he put 10 runners on again. Boone said, I thought the profile of the stuff was there. But now he's saying that he hasn't had a few great starts. What? You told us he pitched well. You told us the profile was there. You said again the profile was there on Thursday night. The profile of what? The Angels just tagged you for 6 runs, Nestor. The team as a whole gave up 9. You got blown out in the night game of the doubleheader. This is a team that thinks they're going to win the World Series. Nestor thinks that everyone wants to be them. I don't think anyone wants to be Nestor with his 9+ ERA in the last month plus. It's not like Nestor was the only problem. The offense was a problem again. Jazz hits the home run in the second. Then they're just held down until the end of the game. Meaningless garbage time, stat padding time, where they picked up 3 runs. They end up losing by 5 runs. Again, 9-4 loss. The offense is problem. You may have thought the problems were cured after they won those second, third games in Fenway. They swept the Phillies. They come home. They win a series against the Blue Jays, but they're really kind of still in there in terms of figuring it out. They haven't figured it out. They stabilized the free fall, ended the collapse. You'd hope for good. You hope what has gone on since the weekend against Toronto and what just went on against the Angels isn't the start of another extended losing period. But Boone keeps talking about how guys are coming back from injury. Who's coming back? Clark Schmidt is nowhere near back. Scott Efros, who knows if he'll pitch. Anthony Rizzo is barely swinging a bat, and I don't even know that anyone wants him back. John Birdie, every time he's almost back, he gets hurt again. I don't know who you're waiting on. You waited for Stan. He came back. He hasn't done anything. So who are you talking about coming back? And how do you know no one else is going to get hurt? Boone operates under this assumption that the roster is the roster and then injury guys will return to the roster. He doesn't ever think about the fact that injury guys can come back and more guys could leave to injury. So don't think that anyone coming back is going to make a difference outside of Clark Schmidt because he pushes Cortes and Stroman out of the equation, which is what you want. I mean, there's in no way could Marcus Stroman be on the postseason roster. You can't give that guy a start. Can't have him nibbling with high 80s, and if he misses the black or doesn't get a ground ball, it's hitting the gap or over the wall. And Cortes is right there with him. He's right there in the sense that, like, you can't give him a postseason start if the playoffs were to start today. You can't pitch him on the road because he sucks on the road, so you'd have to pitch him at home, and he hasn't been good at home lately either. So no one's confident in the rotation. No one should be confident in the rotation. No one should be confident in the offense either, because it continues that on nights when Judge and Soto don't hit with otherworldly power and stats, the rest of the offense just doesn't do anything. Now the Rangers come to town, defending champion Rangers who have had a miserable year. They've had injury issues. They've had underperformance issues. A lot like the Yankees. The Yankees have just done a better job handling it than the Rangers have this year, but the Rangers won the World Series, so they have that to fall back on. The Yankees don't have that to fall back on. This is the last good team the Yankees are going to see for a while because they've got Texas at home for 3, right into Chicago for 3 against the White Sox, who are on pace to be the worst team in the history of Major League Baseball. A day off, 3 at Detroit, which is another team that just absolutely sucks. A day off, 3 back at home against Cleveland, who's not any good. They're propped up by playing in a bad division. Then you've got 3 against the Rockies at home, another miserable team. 3 on the road against the Nationals, who suck. A day off. 3 at home against the Cardinals, who are mediocre. And then you're at Labor Day, and the September schedule is not that hard either. It's harder than August, but it's not that hard. But for everyone who thought the Yankees were going to get fat in August, they're not. They're 3-3. They played the Blue Jays and the Angels at home, and they're 3-3. With those two teams, with the Blue Jays trading away guys off their roster last week, with the Angels just being bad all season, that's you're thinking you're winning 4 or 5 games. To get 3 out of 6 against those teams is just not good enough. Here come the Rangers to town, still trying to save their season. It's a team the Yankees should beat. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers get back on track, though, in the Bronx, because that little run at the back end of Fenway and in Philly made everyone feel good again. Maybe everyone feel maybe a little too good, because the Yankees we've seen for 2 months now showed up over these last 6 games at home. That'll do it for today. Yankees-Rangers begins on Friday night. Be back on Monday to talk about it. Thanks for listening. Talk to you on Monday.